So for those of you who have not been keeping up with all of this, Frontiers of Pandora was supposed to release this past year. It was delayed into the ground and it pushed out to this year. So now it looks like it's probably going to come later this year, delayed probably almost a full year if we're being real. And in terms of what this game is supposed to be, it's supposed to be, for one, a first-person open world like adventure game, action game. It sounds basically like Avatar mixed with Far Cry is what it sounds like. What I will say is that the next gen version of Ubisoft's engine does look amazing. So I will give them credit for that. They've already stressed, and I don't think it's unintentional. They've said repeatedly that Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming and is being built in the Valhalla engine because it was originally a DLC for that. And I think that's their way of saying, don't get mad at us when it doesn't look truly next gen compared to Avatar. And who knows, maybe that also is one of the reasons that they decided to delay Avatar, because they didn't want to make Mirage look so crappy in comparison. Because Avatar is running in the next gen version of the Ubisoft engine that's been in the works for like 5, 6, 7 years. This engine has been receiving overhauls and has been really, really getting pushed. The Valhalla engine looked fine, but it's also a couple of years out of date, and you know, it's not next gen in the same way that, I mean, you're going to see this footage. It's ridiculous. So, oh my God. Gotta love that stock intro. Game footage powered by Snowdrop. So this is in engine, but not like in game or anything. So take it with a grain of salt. And I'll say stuff like this gets me excited. This I'm actually pumped for. Ubisoft, I've always given them credit because they are capable of making pretty vast and impressive worlds. The problem is they don't really know how to populate them interestingly. The one time they did it relatively well, I think, was probably Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but then they pulled a 180 and totally blew it with Valhalla. So it made me think that that's more of an accident than that they really knew what they were doing. But that being said, all of this gets me pretty excited. Like they've done their homework on the franchise and the artwork and everything, and it looks good. Ubisoft also really needs a smash hit. Last huge game they had was the last huge game was honestly probably Assassin's Creed Valhalla in 2020. They also had like Far Cry 6. I don't think that did amazingly well. So there's a lot of stuff. But while they normally rush their games, Hasham, apparently, like this one they've had in the works for a long time, and they've been taking their time. Like I said, the last Assassin's Creed game was 2020. So they've been taking extra time since then to really work things out. Sure, they've been doing expansions and DLCs in the meantime, but apparently that's because they're working on engine overhauls and kind of really giving the teams time to pre-produce and to come up with original ideas that are going to make these games really pop, right? So I'm open to being impressed, but certainly like just this look doesn't do much. You must harvest the aliens for their goo. We need the goo. Hurry up and get the goo so that we may harvest. I really am not that impressed with the narrative of the Avatar films, and I guess by association the games. I just don't think that they're like narratively that interesting. I thought like Avatar 1 was like okay, like it's basically running with wolves, but running with Smurfs. I just didn't I didn't get it. Like I don't know. But then again, I don't think people are seeing the Avatar films for the narratives. It seems like most of what you're going for is like the cinematic experience, right? You know? Unobtainium is a rock, you uncultured swine. Oh dang, Titanic. Oh, it's always Titanic time. Yeah, I've got this portion built, but I've got to finish this, which is going to go on top and be the deck. That's the word I was looking for, the deck. Earlier, I was like, I could not think of the word deck. I said like the porch. I said like the patio. I couldn't think of what. Damn. Okay. Anyway, Charlie third person. Nope. This is first person. First person. For in-engine and for the cinematic quality of everything else, this explosion looks like it was made in MS Paint. Like this explosion looks hilariously bad. They also ruined the fire with Valhalla. I don't know what they did, but the fire effects have looked like ass for like 3-4 years, and I don't know why. It's just horrible. Like they totally broke it. It used to look, I think it looked good in Origins. I remember the fire looking okay. Odyssey, it looked fine. But Valhalla, fire looked horrible. It's terrible. There were explosives on the arrow. I don't know if you saw that, but there were explosives tied to it. I don't know. And about the third person thing, I really don't know if it's gonna work or not. Like we haven't seen anything. I think we get one frame or one shot, for like a half a second where we see it in first person, and that's it. So I don't know. It might really work in first person. It might work way better in third. Who knows? We haven't seen the game yet. But this is something I've noticed Ubisoft's trend is right now. They're not showing games very far in advance, which is also very strange. I think what it is they're trying to avoid over-promising and under-delivering. And so with this being like a console generation time window shift where like the games we see this year from Ubisoft are the first games built for the next generation exclusively. Almost everything else they've done has been cross-gen. And even some of the stuff that they're going to be coming out with this year is cross-gen. But like Avatar is the first game, as far as I'm aware, that's going to be entirely next-gen or current-gen focused. So they're probably trying to really crank it, like while also avoiding the problems of Assassin's Creed Unity. So it's going to be really interesting how they crank it and when they decide to show gameplay. Because I bet you good money, whatever they end up showing is what the game's going to look like. And that looks pretty interesting. There's a lot there. A lot there. And so color me intrigued. Color me intrigued. I hope that this game ends up being really fun and interesting, but every time in the last 5-10 years that Ubisoft has really tried to go and get like really original with a fresh IP or something, it doesn't usually end well. Immortals Phoenix Rising was probably the most recent example, and that for a lot of people was just not what it needed to be. I really liked it. I thought it was like refreshing. It was something different. It was an example of Ubisoft doing something they don't normally do. It was something new, and I thought it was cool. But a lot of people just didn't play it. And so now the game is like regularly free on Ubisoft Plus, and they just don't even touch it. So there's that. And then we have some interviews. Let's see the interviews.
The world of Avatar that James Cameron and his team at Lightstone brought to life is epic in so many ways. It's brimming with life, it's bioluminescent at night, and it's majestic in scale as it is rich in details. As the world of Avatar is so different from anything we've done before, we had to do some major upgrades and big improvements to our engine. In the past, Snowdrop allowed us to build amazing cities, but to capture the natural beauty of Pandora, we needed to push Snowdrop even further. We have created the Pandora that you can experience from the deep, dense jungles on the ground to the grand vistas high up in the skies.
And I will say, if anybody is capable of doing this, it's Ubisoft, because their data streaming has always been very impressive. I don't think they get enough praise for it. But their data streaming tech has always been crazy good. So I'm actually quite optimistic about this particular point. Again, judging future performance by past performance, I think they have a lot going for them when it comes to the tech involved with this. He mentions the Snowdrop engine allowed them to make great cities. I would agree. I'm a little bummed that they just kind of totally forgot to do that for the last like 2 Assassin's Creed games, but whatever.
Snowdrop, using the microdetail system, we can propagate thousands of assets in one frame. This allows us to have a lot more highly detailed environment for Pandora.
For the game, we created a varied amount of vegetation using automated placement, and this is significantly more objects than we ever had before. So by moving visibility testing to the GPU, we can now process way more objects per frame.
So the advantage of Snowdrop is that it can handle quite complex shaders. To add more life to the vegetation of Pandora, we created many interactive shaders that can be affected by the player, from real-time wind simulations and interactions to intelligent plants reacting to your presence.
We don't just explore jungles on the ground, we also get to fly our bunch. So we added a new volumetric cloud system in Snowdrop to improve the visual quality of our sky.
See, and that's something that they're actually showing the game working. You get to see the clouds. That's it. It's interesting. I mean, it's very interesting. I find this stuff fascinating, seeing the behind the scenes stuff. I find it so cool.
Ray tracing, we can now illuminate Pandora in a way we never could before. This way we can have real light reflect from the emission and the bioluminescence coming out from the plants, making Pandora more vibrant and more realistic.
Real-time ray tracing allows us to greatly improve lighting in our game. Ray-traced global illumination and reflections make our game appear more naturally lit and more photorealistic, even when there are dynamic objects, dynamic weather, or time of day.
The different activities that NPCs can perform in the world and the different animations they have can make the world feel really alive. So for Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, we wanted to take this one step further and created a system where our NPCs understand the state of the world. For example, weather, player progression, or time of day.
The teams at Ubisoft have done a fantastic job improving Snowdrop. In every project we do, we push the engine further. But Avatar Frontiers on Pandora is without a doubt the biggest leap we've made so far. And we believe it will provide our players with a truly immersive Avatar experience on the new generation of hardware.
Yeah, I just need them to like fix that fire, the explosions, because it looks terrible. I hate to be that guy, but come on. It looks horrible. It looks dreadful.
I don't know that one.
Alexa, I'm not talking to you.
Sorry. I thought I heard my name.
You should be. Anyway, so that's that. Optimistic. I'm pleasantly optimistic. Cautiously.